what's here? We're back here with Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice. Last episode was our first episode of this particular trial sequence, and it was very slow going, but we thought things out rationally and made some very, very huge breakthroughs. So we're going to carry right on. I assume we're going to refine this divination seance a few times and go through it. I don't know how many times. Perhaps it'll be enough to fill this whole episode, because last time it was like 3 or 4 different solves we had to make in the one divination seance. But anyway, it's going to end with us realizing, I imagine, what I've realized at this point, which is that Zeh'lot was killed in the secret base, which is cool because no one else knows about that. So with Phoenix being able to bust out this photograph and just be like, haha, secret base, there's a Plumbashi clock right there. It's gonna be pretty surprising evidence for the prosecution. I think we're gonna have a much better time with this one than we did day one. Was it really the night of the Wright? What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zeh'lot after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. Speaking of, does the autopsy report ever mention, It was said to be after, which is weird then if the water was already red, when Maya says she got there. Oh, but I guess, to be fair, Detective Sky did in fact tell us that they were sort of basing it on the temperature of the body to know when this happened, so it could be off by a few hours if they were assuming he was outside when he was actually inside at the time of death. Anyway. Neither here nor there. The accused slew Acolyte Zeh'lot after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says ginjal? Acolyte Zeh'lot shouldn't have smelled any ginjal on the night of the rite. What do you mean? Let me back up my statement with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled ginjal on the night of the rite. I mean, again, this one doesn't actually say that the smell would be all gone by then, and they said earlier it's pretty strong and would stay around for long, but we're getting a Beh'leeb statement here. Take that! Which again, is just word of mouth and not evidence, exactly. The High Priest's wife, Beh'leeb, and me told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of ginjal-based dishes, and they're only supposed to be served at a certain time the day before the rite. Why, I believe you're right. I had completely forgotten about that. During the feast, the unique smell of ginjal pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m. the day before the purification rite. I'm not convinced myself. But it's not impossible, I guess. Oh, no, actually, that would make a lot of sense as for why the water was already red. That's enough! I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite. Oh, right. I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me your benevolence, but the estimated time of death is just that, an estimate. Depending on the circumstances, it's possible for it to change. What's this? Like, if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent. Why, I believe I have heard something of the sort before. If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death is in the autopsy report will have to be revised. Zeh'lot's autopsy report updated in the court record, now saying 10 noon to 3 or what? Nah! Just, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. based on divination seance. Cool. Of May 8th, wow. Markhead, you blinded me with science! Sorry. Wait, what am I apologizing for? No matter. The murder may have occurred in the afternoon hours the day before the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the accused's prints on it is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insight to account for this new truth. Sure. And where one thing unravels, the next will go. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite, though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insight infallible. Nick, a change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of inconsistency. If I had something that showed what it was like on that day, it could really help. I suppose what we're going to... Hang on a sec. What the plaza looked like that day? I'm not sure we have much. We have this photograph from May 10th, and I took these ones on May 9th, is that right? Anyway, I guess it has to be, if we didn't change any of the sensations, it has to be that the one that she changed is the thing, right? That's just how it works. I think that's going to be a running theme. If none of the sensations changed, well, actually, let's just change. Maybe it might be one of those things where we didn't necessarily refine it openly, but something has changed. But no, it looks all the same so far. Question is, of course, what was he trying to push the stone for? What does that do? What does some kind of secret chamber, some secret mechanism? Anyway, the sensations did not change. The only thing that has changed from last time is her insight here. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. So I should be able to use this one, but oh my, I'm not seeing anything that contradicts it was the afternoon of the day before the rite that was dark. Well, I guess it shouldn't have been dark if it was the afternoon. It's maybe what we're, but the visuals do not make it see. It's her own insight that says it's dark. It's not the visuals that enforce that. The pattern wasn't different the day before or something, was it? Phoenix did pretty clearly say, if only I've had something that showed me what it was like the day of the Wright. Sorry, the day before the Wright. Well, I don't have any such thing, do I? Dude, the day before the Wright, I was chilling in the temple. I wasn't even here. Oh, okay. Right. Well, I guess this is the only thing that we have that's the day before the Wright, but I don't know what... Oh, right, he was here at this time on the day before the Wright, at the meal. Duh, sorry. I forgot when this meal had taken place, even though it says right here. Okay, right, so basically, I should just be able to present the site, right? Because he shouldn't be here the day before the Wright at noon to 3? Oh, only Beh'leeb doesn't actually... We don't actually have the bit that says when he left. Did he leave promptly at 3? I think maybe he did. I think maybe they said that. But Phoenix did specifically say, I gotta have something that shows me what was going on the day before the Wright, and I guess we're talking about this. I'm not presenting it, obviously, but this should inform me of what sensation to push on, and I think we should be able to just say all of it, because he wasn't there at that time. Is there... I forget, if you cycle these to the end, does Phoenix say anything? No, it doesn't work like that. I don't know which sensation proves what I'm saying, but what we're supposed to say here is that he wasn't there at this time on the day before the Wright. He was at home then. But do I... well, what I can say is that at that time, I guess I can call the Plume Punisher theme here, because at that time, Maya did not yet... She had only just gotten this thing, and she was obviously also here. Yeah, anyway, I can probably push on the Plume Punisher theme here, right? Oh, please work. Objection! Oh, the music kept going. That's not it. But I'm on the right point, which is that at that time of day, what was happening was not this. I would think the music should absolutely prove that, because obviously in the photograph that was taken at said time, she was at home, and so was he. Well, I guess there are only so many sensations I can pick, right? And the visuals don't actually change that much from section to section, right? It's frustrating. It's basically, I'm on the same thing as what screwed me up with the lantern is I know exactly what is wrong with this, but I do not know how to make Phoenix say it. There's not a present evidence button, is there? Like I can't go, take that with this? No, I can't. Well, they don't just want me to hit the Ginjil again and say, well, he had the Ginjil at home. I guess I can try that. I mean, I could sit here thinking about it for an hour and a half like I did with the lantern one, just to be like, oh, I'll save health if I figure it out, but that'll be a lame. Let's just push all the things that I think it should be. So it's not the Ginjil, so I guess I'll try Sight next. That's frustrating. I'm gonna do... If it does Sight, I'm actually gonna be really mad. So why is that better than the music or the Ginjil smell? The change in date and time of the crime has caused a new inconsistency to surface. What's this? Well, I guess really... No, that makes sense. Okay, I should have just done it when I first thought of the Sight, because I said that first, right? I said I should just pick the Sight. I'm such an idiot. Because the Ginjil and the sound are actually correct. They are what he should have been hearing at that time at noon. God damn it. Piss and bugger and vinegar. Bologna, fudge, and mustard. Why don't I just make a drop-down list next time? Don't make me pick a sensation. What's this? You're making that irritating face again. Cease that at once! Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now let's focus on what is important, what the victim saw in his final moments. Do you have bats in the belfry, barbed head? There's nothing to see. The ground at the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the Wright, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground. Impossible, do you say? Do explain. At the very least, I can take comfort in the knowledge that I didn't have the solve wrong. This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day. Well, not visible to him. It was visible. That's a lie. Don't say that, Phoenix. Not visible to him because he wasn't there. Take that! Are you sure that shows why the ground was not visible? I'm positive. I know not what the defense thinks he sees. But I see a lawyer spouting nonsense. Perhaps this will open his eyes. Oh, okay, so I guess they want me to get this at the stupid scarf thing? Oh. Well. I didn't have the solve wrong. Okay. They moved it. The police moved it, so there's no way to know this is how it was on the day of the murder? Fine, I'll pick this one. I don't understand why this doesn't work. My apologies, it's because of the scarf, which again, means it wasn't visible to him, not it wasn't visible, period. Take that. Oh, it wasn't the scarf either. Oh, okay, I am gonna die so fast. 15 minutes into this episode and we've lost 4 health. Wow, okay, why wasn't it visible then? Oh. The ice froze the ground from the inner sanctum to the Plaza of Devotion. I did not realize that meant that the carpet was, like, invisible. How does the carpet make ice? Oh, well, thick white ice, it says. So it's right. I lost 4 health because I forgot about that. This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the Wright. So why is the photograph showing he was somewhere else not count? I'm glad it wasn't the scarf, though, because that would be ridiculously brain dead. To say, well, the scarf was blind. It's like we don't know where it was on the actual day. Wow, I was so far off the ball on that one. Jeepers. I now have 1 health for the rest of this trial. Damn it, I will die again. Almost definitely. When the next such thing happens. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the Wright. What? But the victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground. Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean that he was killed elsewhere. What? 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 Gallery's been uncharacteristically quiet this trial so far. Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed? Yes, tell us where, otherwise your argument is worthless. About that? I hadn't gotten to that part yet. I wish it had let me say it before that divination seance was over. Any ideas, Maya? Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right? Right, but where could that be? What is it, Barb's head? Giving up already? Not at all. Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed. That'll be the photograph that I took. Take that! The secret hideout the rebels were using. The rebel hideout. Man, I that's one of the first times in a while I've been that far off the actual solution and so confident about it. There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber. Crap. Does that mean that this was not actually taken during the feast? Or, you know, that we don't actually have metadata on that, and that's another one of those things where it's a 50-50 whether what we've been told is a fact or just a suggestion. We use this one as a fact, this one's a suggestion, like the metadata on this camera, I guess. Nevertheless, there was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber. You're absolutely right, there's no place on the floor anyway. Then what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout? This is what the victim saw in his final moments. Take that! The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of those moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are 2 distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab. Objection. That does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitively declare they are one and the same. I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout. So how do you suggest the ginger smell happened? As well as not seeing any snow? There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout. Indeed. What evidence do you have of this? None whatsoever, because I did not photograph it through the luminol glasses. I have a bit of red Sharpie that I put on a photograph. I've already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at this second version of the photograph I just showed you. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab. Why does that work? But Trucy's testimony in the previous case did... Is this true? This information has already been provided to the police. Detective Skye, to whom does this blood belong? We thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from outside, so we haven't tested it yet. Why would the High Priest's blood have... Oh, flown in from outside. Okay, I see. And you must do so at once! Yes, Your Majesty. And it will belong to real Nemu. Chatter, chatter, gobble, gobble, whisper, whisper. Thank you for actually postponing the trial till she got back with those results. That's one way this court is better than the one back home. Golly, I flubbed that so hard. Get it together, man! It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Skye, your report, please. The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Zeh'lot, just like the defense claims. That's not his name, but okay. Detective Skye, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. Excuse you? This is not her fault. What do you mean her blunder? I didn't see you demanding the blood be tested. There, I will deliver a joyous sermon onto you for 8 hours straight. I'm really sorry, but please anything but that. Nick, maybe this is the chance we've been waiting for? Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but, go for it! It's full speed ahead! The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zeh'lot praying during the rite, he was already dead! Ah! And that's not all! If he was killed at the Inner Sanctum, that would explain one more thing. And that would be how the time of death was made to look later than it actually was, the proof of which was left behind at the Sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. What? I don't know this. Something about heat and warmth? What? I don't know. No. What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Phoenix. My boy, my lad. Sorry, what was it he just said? The proof of which was left behind at the Inner Sanctum. What the hell was left at the Sanctum? Please tell me they're not going to say they smashed the lantern to give him more warmth. No, because you couldn't warm him up with this tiny little lantern light without catching fire's clothes. Are they saying because the shoveled out snow? Wait, sorry. But surely that would make it seem like it took place longer ago than they wanted, right? Because the colder he was, the longer they'd assume he'd been out in the cold. But what else was left at the scene? Well, the spring water was already red, but again, that's Maya's statement and not evidence. And that's not how it was made to appear later than it actually was. I was assuming maybe they shoveled the snow onto his body to make him colder, but no, wait, what was left at the scene? I have the foggiest idea what we're talking about here. Not at the Plaza of Devotion, but at the Inner Sanctum. The only things that fit that bill are the snow being shoveled and the fact that the water was already red. But the water was already red does the opposite. That points to him having been killed earlier, and moreover, it was meant to prove that it was seemed to set up such that we were meant to imagine it was to rust in these. I'm definitely gonna die here. But I'm pretty confident it's either the snow or the blood. It's really weird the things they do penalize for you and then the things they don't. Like, there was so much evidence pointing to the fact that the paratrooper had come down from the prison, but they were like, oh no, we mustn't damage the player for that option. But these are some other really crazy leaps they're asking you to make here that they penalize you for. Well, not crazy leaps, but they feel like much more leaps than the paratrooper came from above the sanctum. Oh, the warmer temperature will make for excellent prayer weather. We'll see a cold front move in overnight. So they shoveled out some snow and dumped it on his body to cool him down faster to make it seem like he had been killed during the cold. I mean, it could be either of these, right? The snow or the fact that they're saying he was killed inside and that's why the blood wasn't dripping down all his clothes. I'm gonna go with the snow. Yes! I'm alive! Why, these are photos of the Inner Sanctum. I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. Do you see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. That's enough! The time was mistaken. And the place too. And just what do you believe that proves? That my client is innocent? What of our fingerprints on the dagger? And the Plume Punisher theme the victim heard? You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence. Her fingerprints were on the dagger because she was practicing with the Wright, and the Plume Punisher theme was heard because of the clock. I see your point. Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you. Actually, that might be possible. At least for one of them. Really? What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for what key piece of evidence? Huh. Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo. Oh! The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence. The Plume Punisher theme. The Plumed Punisher theme? And how do you intend to support such a claim? Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout, there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap. It wasn't the strap! Is this true? The item that played the Plume Punisher theme song was this. A what? Take that! This is a Plume Punisher alarm clock. Okay, we're back in our groove here. I think we're in a good flow here. Just ride out this one health at the end of the trial. I'm sure we can do it. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. That's enough! What proof do you have that the alarm went off? Objection! What proof do you have that it was my client Strap that played the theme song? Ah! Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here is what really happened. Insight revised. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. It didn't change anything. Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case. Well, I suppose we know that the dagger was clean from Tarrust's seance vision at that time, right? So how would it suddenly get all of your man's blood, Perez-a-Lot's blood on it after that murder? No, there is one. What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency. Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same. So 2 pieces of thing got changed, but this all still seems the same. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Then someone was there, and the theme to the Plumed Punisher filled the air. The accused plunged her knife into the defenseless victim's neck. The blade struck true, and in that instant they departed from this world. I still don't get why... I mean, I guess they're just saying we have no proof that this was taken at that time. Photographs from cameras have metadata. This is like what are we in like the 1960s? And what's more, I can prove this was the day before the rite anyway because the orb is in this photograph, and it's suggested as much by the Jinjil, right? They wouldn't have openly taken this photograph doing something that was considered taboo, eating it outside of that time, right? So this photograph unequivocally proves that he was not in the that she was not there, for one thing. She was here with her Plume Punisher strap. Oh, I've got nothing here. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. That feels like the one that has to be wrong. So the 2 that just got changed were these 2. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. That's right, I'm pretty sure, right? We don't have any evidence to suggest that that is incorrect. Well, I suppose he could have been lying down, like, if we know this thing to fall over very easily. Perhaps it was already on the ground at this point, and he was leaning down in the heavy as he had something placed on him at that point. I don't know why I was thinking of that. Well, I was trying to disprove the stood part of the victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout, but this doesn't... I don't believe it does disprove that. Well, I guess the question is heavy. Is that heavy? There's something on me that's heavy, or this thing is heavy? And we don't know. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. I don't see how I could disprove that with any of these, though. But it seems like the one that would be more worth questioning. I'm tired. I don't like the divination seance anymore. If only I hadn't spent those 2 on the Jinjil and the Plume Punisher theme when the problem was that we could see the mark. Why doesn't the photograph work? Maya, Your Majesty, why doesn't the photograph work? I hope they don't want us to say that if he was standing, we shouldn't see it get shadowy. Because you could see it get shadowy when you were standing, depending on where the light was. So that is not evidence. That seems too stupid. The game is too smart for that. And they would have made it much more obvious, a shadow, I think, in that case. Well, but would both of your hands be covered in shadow if only your face was coming forward? Well, I guess... forget it! Heavy!
Objection!
That was it! The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer, but he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from? Yes, I see your point. But it's a bit weird if he's going to say it couldn't have been the stone slab because it's wobbly, because there's no evidence anywhere that says as much. And that's also, again, Phoenix's testimony. Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been held down. Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was that heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensations Zeh'lot felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree that the sense of heaviness seems important, but it's also the matter of Zeh'lot's hands on the stone slab. Why were they even there? Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation? Well, Mr. Wright, do you have an answer for us? Oh, of course. If I just envision the state Zeh'lot was in when he was killed, the cause of the heaviness the victim felt was... I don't know. The falling stone slab, I guess. Well, Maya did just ask why did he have his hands on the slab, so I guess it was about to fall over. Someone else was tipping it over onto him. The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. So he was actually on his back? Again, that's a weird one that you would lose health for that, right? Because it's not the only conceivable way. Sure, the killer could have jumped on his back. That's what they said happened, as a matter of fact. The stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. But I guess I get that the stone slab falling seems more important. Oh! The stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath. Right. That was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt. Objection. While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death, rather he was stabbed. Oh yeah! Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they would have both been crushed together. I think more likely the slab was like falling on him, and then he got stabbed in the neck, and then dropped it on himself. If we're assuming that the slab was falling over on him. When it could, I mean, a sensation of heaviness could also be trying to push something heavy. That's very inspecific. Well, would you care to explain? Sure, I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can. How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. What? Oh, you're saying you couldn't have held a polearm here? Well, it doesn't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily one of these particular weapons pictured. And you probably could have used the axe, although it would have left a messier wound than what we see, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there? So what was the real murder weapon, then? I better think of something. If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like the dagger. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime? You got me! Are they just saying this little, sickle that's tied to a stick? They could have untied it from the stick? Oh, right, because this little, thing is also like a butcher knife put to it. Or maybe one of the bolts? I don't know. It could have been any one of those things. And I guess there's a bit of a dagger shape on the clock, but I assume this is plastic or something. I don't know, man! There's a lot of sharp stuff around here. Oh. The Warba'ad statue. Ah. That would make a lot of sense as to why it was all covered in blood. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's got a lot of sharp stuff on it. Yeah. You right. Man, I'm bubbling my way through this one a lot more than I thought, considering I felt like I had so many souls under my belt pre-trial. Something that had a shape similar to the Warba'ad dagger. Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright. This shows what really killed the victim. Wait, do they want me to put the diagram or the photo? Because I'm saying it's the statue. Well, this one shows it more clearly. There's blood all over the statue. Take that! Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest's murder? Are you suggesting the murder weapon is hidden therein? This is what really took Zeh'lot's life. I guess it wasn't the beak, as that would be covered in a lot more blood. It would probably be one of these, spokes. But it's the statue, anyway. Take that! But that is the... The Warba'ad statue? Exactly. The Warba'ad statue has dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life! Objection. You imbecile fool. The statue is outside of the hideout. How do you propose it impaled someone who was inside? Haven't you heard? The Warba'ad statue also functions as the hideout's door. What do you mean? The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. A switch-eroo. To put it simply, it's a revolving door. You guys barely seem surprised there was a secret hideout at all, actually. I mean, I guess the police mentioned it, but they didn't mention this. A revolving door? Well, that makes perfect sense. Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling toward him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but its weight forced him backwards. So no one killed him? It threw him into the statue? Unfortunately, the Warba'ad statue was right behind him. This cannot be! I kind of doubt that's where it'll end, that with a no one killed him verdict. Has that happened yet? I'm not sure it has. That's enough! But the accused fingerprints were found on the dagger. She'd held it while rehearsing for the rite, which is when her prints got on it. This is a shocking turn of events, but there is a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor. I believe we must accept that the Warba'ad statue was what killed the victim. Well, I'll take that. Man, that really came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't thinking about that at all. But it does answer why there was so much blood on it. If, neither individual was... I mean, that's ridiculous that they were proposing they got stabbed so hard they, exploded blood all over the statue. This makes a lot more sense. I mean, I guess it doesn't explain how the blood got up, on the upper portions of the wings. If it was a stab wound like that, it wouldn't explode outward everywhere either, but... Whatever. I'll accept it for now. Its sharp protruding fingers took Zeh'lot's life. It is also a revolving door. Interesting. Now that we know how Acolyte Zeh'lot really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime. Nice work, Nick! How could this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth! No, your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Do you understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so that they can interpret your insights. But that means I've been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time. Your benevolence! Are you unwell? Well, you didn't necessarily get it wrong each time. All the color is drained from your face. I can't help but notice also that this does not exonerate us from the previous murder. I will be fine. You can continue your proceedings without me. As you wish. I feel kind of bad for her. Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you have learned now that we know how the victim actually died. Did I say the victim? A mixture of defendant and victim? Acolyte Zeh'lot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer. But only after the Warba'ad dagger was thrust into him, to make it look like the murder weapon. Well, they could have done it there, I guess. That does seem to agree with what we now know, but why would the real killer go to such lengths? I believe stabbing Acolyte Zeh'lot's body with the dagger and moving it to the plaza was a warning from the Twilight Realm, a crime committed for fun. Neither of those seem very pertinent. To make it look like a serial murder. Someone trying to frame Maya. To make it look like a serial murder. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer. That's right. The real killer planned all of this. This forged serial murder case. They did? That's it, Nick! Keep hammering away! Shatora! Your reasoning has more holes in it than that cheese you foreigners so enjoy. What? Like those putrid hole-riddled chumps of curs that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid hole-riddled brain, has putrefied. Very fond of that word, aren't you? What's this deal with things being putrid? Yeah, exactly. You have yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. I need my butterfly for this one. I'm getting too agitated. Disguised as Lady Kee'ra, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the Wright, but Acolyte Zeh'lot had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed the stone slab toward him, and we know the rest. Okay. Please go find the prince on the stone slab, if you would, and then explain who the Lady Kee'ra was that we saw in Trust's vision, and how the dagger was suddenly clean in that vision. And for the love of Sothis, would someone please explain why the photograph is not admissible? I don't believe there's no metadata on it. I just don't. I do not believe that. You would have to, buy an antique, Polaroid camera for that. I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life! When the high priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him. I believe Prosecutor Zah'lot has posed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt. Objection! Why would my client move Acolyte Zeh'lot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into his dead body? She had no reason to do any of those things. The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of, Lady Kee'ra will slay the defiant dragons. So that is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see. And how do you propose she got her hands on the key to get into the rebel hideout? No, is the judge convinced too? I thought I finally made some headway. Well, Mr. Wright, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not? Groan of distress? It kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with. And I still haven't disproven the allegations against Maya. Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace. A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in Khura'In? But I must admit I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid, cheese-like smell. But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body on the verge of death. Now I'm a rotting zombie. Think, who could have killed Zeh'lot the day before the Wright? Who knew about the rebel hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Only those involved with the Wright can enter the sanctum, so... Wait a second. Who would have known well about the Wright, the setting of the inner sanctum, before she suddenly said, I'm too pregnant to do this? Only a rebel would have known about the secret hideout, and the only person who was involved with the Wright had access to the sanctum, and was suspected of being a rebel is... Ah! Did somebody come to mind? Yes, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem? Wait, it sounds like he's talking about to rust in me. What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from this sacred hall? I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Zah'lot will have this one in the bag. Is he going to propose that Trust in Me killed Zeh'lot? Because we know that to be wrong since the eye was in their house when we got there after Trust in Me died, so he would have had no time to replace it there. It must be Beh'leeb in that case. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Zah'lot will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of that huge problem. Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in Zeh'lot's murder. Objection. Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. No, there is one person who knew everything. Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us, who might that be? I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zeh'lot's murder is... Ah, man! Okay, so they either want me to say Beh'leeb or to rust here. But it could be either that he's saying. Oh, okay, no, well, it's okay, to be fair. Only rebel would know about the secret hideout, the only person who was involved with the Right had access to the sanctum. Okay, so this is their way of saying, if you've jumped ahead and are suspecting Beh'leeb, don't, because Phoenix is saying, the only one we suspected of being a rebel is Trust in Me. Okay, sorry. They included that little line just for me, I think. Take that! He's saying Trust in Me killed him. It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the Wright. Shatura! He would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well they tell no tales. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem, except for when there's a seance vision. If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story. Funny you looked at Maya when you said that. What? Do I have something on my face? Wait a second. Could this actually work? Oh no. Don't tell me I have some of my breakfast caught between my teeth. No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to go with it. Your Majesty, dead men do tell tales. Therefore, I would like to request the High Priest's testimony. His testimony? And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify? There's a way for the dead to testify. It's known as channeling. Summon him here by means of spirit channeling. What did you just say? Spirit channeling? Has this lawyer finally gone insane? This is sacrilege. May the Holy Mother strike him down! Oh, this is turning out to be a cool way for this to go. It's what I was hoping for much earlier. Peace! I am frankly astonished that you even know of such a thing, but spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Khura'In can perform. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. I suspected as much. It means our only hope is... It's okay, Nick. You can tell him. But, Maya, I thought you wanted to keep it a secret here in Khura'In. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precepts, so... Yeah, and also it'll make us both not die. I don't think we'd be punished. At least I hope not. But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become Master of Khura'In. We don't have any other choice now, do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming Master of Khura'In. Alright. Thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits. Shatura! But even her benevolence, Princess Rayfa, finds the divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she, aside from the Queen? Well, I wouldn't have phrased it like that, but if we're gonna be that way, that would be, me? Is this some sort of a joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power. Even the royal priestess is incapable of such a feat. Peace, peace, I say. Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the sacred art of spirit channeling? Well, yes, I can. Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin. That's enough! She's not gonna be happy with us. Your benevolence. This is an outrage! An outrage, I say! First, you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Her benevolence speaks the truth. Spirit channeling is a sacred rite. Foreign devils, I say they should be put to death immediately! Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. Still your voices! Barbed head, spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose? Yes, I am. Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of their use of spirit channeling? I will judge whether their claim is true. If this is but another of their lies, they shall be executed on the spot! Very well then. Your benevolence? What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit? Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits? Oh, no, but I wanted to be sure, as I am responsible for the safety of all present. Well, an inexperienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit. But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. With it, I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power. That is a relief indeed. These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet. Let us not shirk from their challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Next time on A Sturdy Spirit of Justice, this episode went horribly. Oh no, we're not dead yet. So presumably we're going to test call Enemy to the stand, and all of Maya's hair adornments will fall out. And he's going to be like, whoa there, I didn't kill Praise-a-Lot, and we're going to have to have him testify and kind of pick through what he's saying. That will lead us to the truth of what happened, and we'll all have a good time, and it won't go poorly like this one did. Damn it, I'm so mad at myself, because I was so not wanting it to go to another Lantern one, where I just, sat there for an hour and a half, getting no headway, so I was like, whatever, just push on them all, because clearly I don't get it, when actually I did get it, but then I gave the wrong, because I even said, do the site first, because that's what we see is wrong, he shouldn't be there. But then I was like, that's not good enough, and it turned out I was wrong about, because really what they were saying was that he should have seen snow, but Ugh, anyway. If I'd just gone with my gut, even though I didn't realize it was the snow one, I would have still gotten that. Oh, I'm so frustrated! But yeah, that's twice in this case, this trial sequence so far that we've used evidence that it's just Phoenix is drawing with a Sharpie marker that the police did not corroborate. Well, then she kind of went, I tested the blood, but it's like, this isn't the police-ordained version of that. And we use Beh'leeb's statement. I guess, in fairness, we're using Beh'leeb's statement more here to call out that, what is a well-known fact here, but it's not well-known for us. Anyway, whatever, next video on the channel is going to be some more Way Sports. Thank you so very much for coming around to this episode of Ace Attorney's Spirit of Justice. Hopefully I will see you around. Admiral's going to be out of here now. Peace! Good. And like I said, you hardly need to ball a perfect game, bro. Yeah, that was almost not enough. I need to get just a little more power in there somehow. I'm not sure what it is I'm missing, but I'm missing power. I'm without a substantial amount of power.